And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. And glad you're here. In case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. We'll do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry. How about tariffs? How about negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, or I don't even want to mention the name anymore. What's going on with Israel and the scumbags, debt and deficits, and scams and shams. And I've been studying up for my fantasy league. I traded to go from number 6 to number 3, and I stay at number 3. The guy who was at 3 wanted 6. Don't ask me why. To me, it makes no sense. But that ensures who I get in the first round. I'm going to take Gibbs of Detroit in the first round. I do believe Jamar Chase and Bijan Robinson go 1-2. That's your sports for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, every now and then we simplify markets for you. Oh, by the way, if you don't get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. Also on our Twitter feed, our X feed. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. And if you'd like to email us, just be nice. It'll also be on Biz TV, YouTube, and podcast apps and all that. Ladies and gentlemen, very important. Listen carefully. Do you know how we do the simplification here? What if 100 stocks were in an uptrend, and you're assuming I know what an uptrend is? Well, the market's in an uptrend, and let's assume each stock is worth the same amount. But what happens if 50 of them top out and start heading down? Well, there's a fight that is on, and the indices stay flat. But what if the 50 that top out and head down have 3 times the weighting of the stuff that's going up? Well, that could be trouble. Or what if the stuff that has the weighting are just in certain areas that have got over-owned, over-loved, overstretched, overextended, overpriced, and all that crap, while other areas were left kind of for dead? So I want to let you know, when you watch the news tonight, you know the news, the biased, don't care about you news, they're going to tell you that the Dow finished up 10 points. They'll tell you the S&P was down 37. That's the equivalent of about 275 points to the downside in the Dow. And then maybe they emphasize or not that the NASDAQ dropped 314 points. And the NASDAQ 100 dropped 329 points. The NASDAQ, that would be the equivalent of about 650 Dow points. We're letting you know today was a bit of out with the old, in with the new. And throughout the day, the Dow had the better bid. Even the Dow was getting in trouble, but what happened today, and I think most importantly, is that the NASDAQ types slided away. And what we're going to do for you today, we're going to be a little descriptive on a bunch of these very important names, because we know how things get beloved, where people think nothing can go wrong because they're conditioned that nothing can go wrong. But we know better, and we've taught you that throughout the years, to stay on top of things, because you never know what's next. And we've also conditioned you to know to stay on your toes, that in bear markets, the average great stock will drop 70% from their highs. They don't tell you that. So just letting you know, it was one of those days. And there was some, let's call it damage done to a bunch of important names while the Dow was up 10 points today. Oh, and by the way, the Dow, which was up 10 points today, if I can get it right, actually rallied about 50 points in the last minute. Am I saying that right? Let me see if I got that right. And the last couple of minutes to get to be up 10. Yeah, about 5 minutes. How's that? So, where do we want to start? Well, I know which are the most popular names. We know that. So let's just do a few of them and let you know on a technical basis, damage done. Some near-term support and near-term moving averages were taken out. We are not predicting anything else from here, just to report to you what they did today. Volume was heavy on a lot of them. That means institutions were moving money around away from one and into the other. They found spots. Let's start with Palantir. We have emphasized there are certain things we don't understand in markets. Every now and then, what we think are anomalies show up, and we never know how it's going to play out. Kind of like Palantir, which today, at the close, finished at a $372 billion market cap with only a little over $3 billion in sales. Now, let's say they double their sales in the next year, which would be great, 100%. It would still leave it with 60 times sales when a company like this should be trading at 20 or 25, and that's on the high end. And I'm not kidding. But markets have their way of doing whatever they want to do in the near term, in the intermediate term, and sometimes longer. Anyway, Palantir today, on double average volume, was down 16 and change today, 9% and change today. Taking out the little gap that it did on its last earnings report and slicing through the 21-day moving average, which we talk about often, has not broken through the 50-day yet. That'll be a few points below. But leave no doubt quite the distribution in Palantir today. And I bring that up because, boy, I get asked about it a lot. Meta, down another 16 today after getting sliced yesterday. Microsoft, down 7 today. It was only 1.4%, but that's cut through that 21-day moving average and looks headed to the 50-day. NVIDIA can never go down again. Was down 3.5% today, sliced through that 21-day moving average. I'm going to explain that in a second again. Oracle really sliced through a couple of days ago and all the way down to the 50-day. Now volume heavier today, down $14.60 today, almost 6%. Broadcom, another AI name, down 3.6%, slices through the 21-day. By the way, we're just talking about today. Tomorrow's another day. Netflix has already been under a little pressure. Did try to get back above the 50-day, dropped $31 today. Was down 50 at one time today, and finished below the 50-day moving average. Want me to do more? Tesla down 6, no big deal. It's never really got going much. Amazon 3 and change today. Google down 2, a lower beta name. Spotify down 9 after being up a bunch earlier today. And I can walk through lesser names, but you know what they did. Celestica down 10, Jabil Circuit down 9. Just for instance, it was a little rough day. And of course, as we said, the NASDAQ down 314, NASDAQ 100, 328. Oh, and by the way, the NASDAQ at the close today did not break the 21-day moving average, but right back on it. And the NASDAQ 100 is right on it. And just so you know, these moving averages we talk about, think of them as too complex. When we're looking at pictures of stocks and we're looking at the roadmaps, what these moving averages do is they smooth out price movements. And the 21-day moving average, you just take the last 21 days, add up the numbers, add up the closes, divide by the same number, 21, and you get a smoothed out line. And that's the strong moving average. And there are others. I don't even talk about the 10. Some people use the 10. I think they're nuts. Up next, what do they mean? Where do we stand? Where was the money flow? And I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. So, due to the fact, the lower the number, the more of a trading vehicle. The 50-day moving average for us is the end-all be-all. That's the one that if it breaks, you have lost the uptrend and has no effect on us. The 21-day is because right now you've had some strength there where things are that strong or so, they are higher above. I also want to make mention of the Bitcoin because that's all the way back down to the 50-day moving average, a rough last few days. I also want to mention, and we warned you, and you may thank us. We warned you. Something up with the MicroStrategy, which has just become nothing more than a leveraged Bitcoin hedge fund. There's something up in that for weeks. The last few weeks, it has not kept up with the Bitcoin, and every day it worsens. In other words, it gets stretched away from what Bitcoins do. In other words, Bitcoin is up, it's flat. Bitcoin is flat, it's down. Bitcoin is down, it's really down. The MicroStrategy is broken down big time below the 200-day moving average. That's the first time. Well, it went below for 1 day in April. We'll see what happens. It's cleanly below today. We'll see what tomorrow brings. So just letting you know, and as we have said to you on MicroStrategy, we want to be careful with our words. There are many, and this I can say without being sued. There are plenty of people out there that think it's just nothing but a scheme where an entity is borrowing money and selling stock to buy more Bitcoin. But as we have leveraged, as we have told you, the last bear market in Bitcoin was 75%. And I'm thinking to myself, well, crap, if Bitcoin drops 75%, what's going to happen to this leverage? Hell's going to break loose. So just letting you know, and also that Coinbase also is getting tripped up big time. That's been touted like crazy, big time also. I don't need to mention any other names. Let's just say in those areas, it was a rough day today. Some things better than others, but a lot of things, took it on the chin. What else took it on the chin? AI stuff. The areas we've been telling you about. AI is the data centers they tell you about. Oh, the data centers. AI is the energy for the data centers, and AI is the construction for the data centers. Now, we've been asked, was there any cause to this? And the only thing I saw that may or may not be cause, may or may not. Meta announced that they're going to downsize their AI division, with a bunch of executives expected to leave. Now, in case you don't know, Meta is the company that said they're going to build a data center as big as Manhattan because AI is the end-all be-all. But now, they're reshaping their strategy. They say there's internal turmoil. We'll see. I don't know if that's the reason. Don't care. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. And all we can tell you is we're away from these areas. Now, where did the money flow today? How is the Dow up 10? Well, it's simple. Home Depot reported flat earnings. In other words, there was no growth in earnings year over year. The last quarter was a -3. The quarter before was +9. The quarter before was -2. That's not that great. But it was up 12 today, and that's about 75 Dow points. And what else was up today was Sherwin-Williams up 9. Between the two, we're talking 21 times. about 135 Dow points, but the Dow was only up 10. Well, that means other areas of the Dow got hit, and as we said, it was a rough day. The S&P was down pretty decent versus the Dow. It tells you that it was very selective. And as I look at my screens, it was good today. The housing-related, Home Depot, Sherwin-Williams had a good day. Interest rates came down a little bit today. The transports have been better after getting trashed, and I'm agnostic on the whole thing. But insurance, which has been very weak, has bounced a little bit today. That's fine. The food and beverage bounced today. That's fine. And economically sensitive names, not all, bounced today. That was fine, and that helped. Medical's better. Remember we said that the XLV broke above the 50-day moving average. Maybe it's turning. That had a decent day. So I'm just letting you know money came out of the what we call beta, high beta, the movers, the shakers, the big names, and into what we call the value, growth to value. Will that last? I don't know. I can tell you today also, the Dow today hit a high of 45,207. The Dow was up 290 points and finished only up 10. The only good news on that is at one time today, the Dow was down 90. Maybe even a little bit more. But leave no doubt they distribute a little bit on the Dow also. So just letting you know, money is moving around, and the high beta growth, artificial intelligence type stuff took it on the chin. I would suggest, my guess, there's some more work to do. There's some more work to do. And it's a consequence of over-owned, over-leveraged, overpriced, over this, over that. And it has to work itself off, which is a normal course of business, but will be painful if you bought at the wrong times and did not trade out quickly, because they got them today. And as I mentioned, Bitcoin also, and that's kind of NASDAQ-ish. It's been moving with the NASDAQ and stuff like that. So rough day today. Advanced declines on the NASDAQ, more than 2-to-1 negative. Almost more new yearly lows than new yearly highs on the NASDAQ. Better play was the Dow types and those areas mentioned. They did get some selling in the big banks like Goldman, but nothing outrageous. If they start to get those, I'll let you know, because that's muy importante. And ick, yuck, bleh. So let me segue a little bit, because blah, 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 blah. Jay Powell's going to be speaking in Jackson Hole this week, and supposedly whatever he's going to say is important. Let me explain to you again what they're not telling you, and they're all wrong, and we are right about it. Because of President Trump, they've made Jay Powell famous again. President Trump made a calculated mistake by bringing him up 100 times, calling him a moron and a doofus and every other word under the sun, calling him for lower rates, that he's killing things when he's not. Now, Trump is right about the doofus getting the whole thing wrong with the inflation and the printing of money and the transitory and all that crap. But I have to tell you, we even said to you in the recent months, we're so happy. Jay Powell didn't mean anything. Unfortunately, now he does. So let's get into that a little bit and much more. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. So, we even said in the past months, we loved that Jay Powell wasn't moving anything. There were no gargantuan swings in the markets when he opened his mouth. He didn't say much. He kept rates doing nothing. And here comes Trump, the man who says he is free markets and is the complete opposite of free market capitalist. Complete opposite. He's a capitalist with his own stuff, but not with anything else. You don't believe me? Just go look at everything he's been doing. Everything's this, that, and the other thing. And if you don't do, he's using our treasury and our tax dollars to make business do this, that, and the other thing. No go. Anyway, let's move forward. So Jay Powell, here's this guy that's been just sitting, and the world hasn't imploded, yet Trump comes out and says he's destroying the world, destroying everything, while he says we're the hottest thing ever. So in other words, he talks out of both sides of his mouth. We're the hottest thing ever, but Jay Powell's destroying everything. And he's killing this and killing that. So we know what President Trump is. He's just another easy money, crazed person. Bernanke with his money printing, Powell with his money printing, Yellen sitting around loving it. And now the president wants 1% Fed funds, and I promise you, if he did that, all hell would break loose. But now Jay Powell's front and center. He's going to speak this week, and everybody's saying, well, what is he going to say? I don't even want to know. I don't want to see it. I just want to watch markets. I want them to be free. I don't want any presidents up the market's butt, and that's what's going to happen. He hired a guy to take over for some other Fed head who's in his back pocket. He's in Trump's back pocket. In other words, he's Donald Trump. All of a sudden, I want a lot of rate cuts. And just so you know, this guy was not really all for a lot of rate cuts before he got picked. And of course, whoever he's going to pick to run the Fed, he's going to be in the back pocket, which we loathe. And he hired somebody at the BLS, back pocket. We loathe. There's no independence anymore. There's not going to be any independence until Trump's gone. So Jay Powell, we have to listen to what he says Friday, and who knows what is going to happen. I don't know. What we're going to continue to do here, as we said, watch the 10-year yield. If it goes much higher, not good. If it stays right here, fine. If it goes lower, terrific. That's all. Does he need to lower rates? I think he can lower rates a quarter, half point, and that'll be fine. But it's not going to change the economy one shred. Could help the markets a little bit, or not. So, unfortunately, the president has made him famous again. It nauseates the hell out of me, but welcome to our world. And by the way, this is not opinion. These are pure facts on what the president's been doing, what he wants to do, how he's doing it. Apple spend $100 billion, will exempt you from taxes. That's asinine, ass 10, ass 11. No president should be able to do that. Yeah, but Gary, he's going to spend... No, I don't care. Don't care. And you know why? Imagine if a Marxist became president and starts using tariffs another way. Oh, you didn't think of that, did you? Again, all this stuff opens up a can of worms. Spigots opens up. And just remember, you know how you got the $37 trillion of debt? Because George Bush, the compassionate conservative, opened the spigots on debt and deficits, just calmly, quietly, which allowed Barack Obama to supersize what George Bush did, which allowed the comatose Biden to double that up, which has led to Donald Trump. Excuse me, I forgot Trump before Biden. Trump with the massive debt and deficits first go round when he said, I'm the art of the deal, and, well, that's not, he doesn't speak like that. I'm the art of the deal. Oh, we could cut debt and deficits easily. And he went on a spending spree and a debt and deficit spree, and that brought in Biden, that broke all track records and got the championship belt. $2 trillion yearly deficits. And Donald Trump comes in, we're going to do something about the debt and deficits. And guess what he did? He gave us the debt and deficit middle finger also. And they're going to run $2 trillion deficits this year. Did you know that? You know, last month they were applauding themselves. We had a $28 billion surplus. Have you heard them talk about July? A $291 billion deficit. Oh, that's right. They haven't talked about July, did they? The scam continues. So we're going to be watching it closely. As usual, Without any bias, we couldn't give a crap who's running the show. RD does not matter to me. And we'll continue to compliment Trump on the border, the backing of Israel, the fighting of crime. We love what he's doing in D.C. The media can go screw themselves. The mayor can go screw herself. He's protecting the citizenry from a lot of crap. And I got news for you. As I said to you, I ain't kidding. When I was in D.C. the last time, I was running for the hills. Teens looked like they were about to come on me. And guess what? I was getting out of there. They were ready. I don't know what they were going to do, how they're going to do it, but I got the heck out of there into a lighted spot in D.C. Couldn't even walk at night. So good for him. I'm on his side there. You fight crime, terrific. Then he let the J6 people out with the pardons, which, again, there's the hypocrisy of Trump. And now he's doing the thing with Russia, Ukraine. I love it. He looks like a CEO. And, he may not get anything done, but he's trying. The last guy, the worst president we've ever had in history. And we've had bad ones and bad things happened. The last guy couldn't be a dog catcher. And to get these people from Europe, I don't care if they all hate him. I don't care if they're all faking it. He's still got all these people who run the European countries here. And maybe that puts pressure on that punk running Russia. That's great. At least he's trying. So I give him that credit. So notice, we should change the name of the show to Balls and Strikes. And we love his golf courses too. So that's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We get him on Friday. I think it's Friday. And it sickens me. Because the guy doesn't know what he's doing. The Fed's nothing but damage. Ben Bernanke told us once they started printing money, it'd only be temporary. $9 trillion later, and a lot of damage done. But that still doesn't take away what's going on in D.C. and their corruption and their spending. Oh, and by the way, they're trying to pass a bill that they can't trade anymore. Why do they have to even pass a bill that shouldn't they be able to trade? Well, the problem is they committed crimes that we would go to jail for, that nothing happens to them, and that's why that's going on. They're crooked. They're crooked in D.C. People that are running committees, overseeing companies and industries are trading on votes that are going to happen in the future and making all kinds of buku bucks. They're scum. And I would tell to their faces. And you can read about, by the way, there are people on X, Twitter, X, whatever, that keep a running tab of this stuff. And when I read it, it's amazing. They don't care about you or I. They're doing it in plain sight. They're committing crimes that we would go to jail for in plain sight, thumbing their nose at us, shooting us the middle finger, and making a lot of money. Think about that. We're supposed to tell our kids, these are the leaders of the country. We should be complimenting them, thanking them, being happy with them. And they're crooked. And in plain sight. It's an amazing thing. And by the way, it's both sides of the aisle. Some worse than others. And they're lucky I'm not making the rules. They're lucky I'm not the DA. They'd all be in jail. Congresswoman, congressman, congresswoman, congressman, you're going to jail. We're indicting you, arrest you, try you by your peers, and you're going to jail if found guilty. So that's going on too. Yay! Let's segue back. Do I think today has more legs on the downside for what got hit? That's up next on Investor's Edge. Da-da-da. So, my father's going into home hospice. They even, I don't know how Medicare works. I'm trying to learn a lot of it, but in Medicaid and all that crap, they're getting him one of these beds that they have at hospitals. He'll have somebody come around 3 times a week. I mean, he's got everything he needs. He's resting comfortably. I had a long talk with the people involved, and they said, exact words, we've seen people for 5 years. We've seen for 3 days. I asked, you got a prediction? No. Just keep them happy, keep them comfortable, and that's that. That's what's going on right now. And it's, I've received probably 1,000 emails now on your experiences with your parents that have gone through this. And we are so appreciative of it, because I have to tell you, I am experiencing emotions that are completely new to me when it comes to this, because seeing a parent that, as I said, my father was almost made the major leagues in the Coast Guard. I mean, athlete like you wouldn't believe, and his 40s and 50s in great shape, 60s, 70s, to see the deterioration, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing that's going to change it. Nothing that's going to turn the corner. It's just another day, and who knows what's next. It's a feeling of helplessness, and you just try to put your own, how is he feeling? But you don't even know what exactly he's feeling, because now we're at the point where you need a little bit of talk here and there, but, I will tell you that he perks up every time I show him a video of his great-grandson. We talked to him. He was very happy that the Giants kicked the Jets' butt this past weekend. We tried to tell him that the rookie quarterback looks like he could be for real, though it's early, and you can tell he had that interest. We stay away from politics now, though. No politics. Politics-free zone. So again, a big, gigantic, I think we got more than 1,000 emails. I've answered every one of them. If I didn't answer, that means I didn't see it, and it ended up in spam, and I should have actually looked in my spam folder. I haven't done that as of yet. So thank you again. And he earned everything we are all doing for him. And I've said that to pretty much anybody who's asked, and everybody felt the same way about their loved ones. And we move on. Don't we segue well here? So really, a changing of the guard got even more changing today. Big penalty on some of these other names. I don't know if the meta news is what caused it. I would tend to believe that it was already. I can tell you that Oracle topped out a week or two ago. So did Microsoft. Even on its earnings, reversed down. And by the way, they're still in bigger uptrends. They're just shorter-term downtrends now. Will they turn into something worse? You don't know just yet, but we'll be on top of it. And what we do now on Watch, because we know some of these companies are the greatest companies out there. We're already looked back to where their major gargantuan support levels are, as well as breakout points, and we're going to watch them big time and see where they hold. I can tell you, I was crossing out a few numbers today. Palantir broke the 21-day. I crossed that out. Taiwan Semi that tried to break out turned down. Celestica broke the 21-day. CEG broke the 50-day. Netflix broke the 50-day. If I have more of those going forward, that's going to be meaningful. On the other end, as I said, there is a move afoot into the value areas of the market. How long it lasts, how far it goes, I don't know. Usually they don't last too long, but you never know. So we'll stay on top of it. The housing related with the supposed guarantee. Does that make sense? Supposed guarantee? That doesn't make sense, right? Well, supposed somebody's guarantee that we're going to get some rate cuts. Maybe that's doing the trick. I don't know. We're just telling you what's going on, reporting to you the news, and just letting you know you got some ick today. You got some pretty good ick. Especially in those areas I think a lot of people are loaded up in. And as always, if anything changes, we will let you know as soon as we can let you know. There's been a lot of talk. Let me just say this. Everybody's agreeing with me now on tariffs. At least some very smart people. They get it. Glad to see. Also want to bring up, I'm just letting you know, I saw somebody who's pretty famous on TV said we're going to be have a triple in the S&P 500 by 2030. A triple in 5 years of the S&P. That's the type of person, it's a man, I'd like to kick in the you-know-whats. The S&P is not tripling by 2030, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, the S&P usually doubles throughout the years. The rule is 72 every 10 years. So I just want to let you know, I'm so sick of these people. And you do know there's some famous people that have been calling for crashes forever also. Just be careful of the outrageous predictions. The 13 million on the Bitcoin. I mean, I'd like to kick them all in the you-know-whats. Remember, they're trying to sell something. Don't forget that. All right, until tomorrow, you'll have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Much appreciation to all of you. Good night, all. Bye-bye.